Hello, Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of March. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office at the City of Sioux Falls, and I typically would say joining me as always is Kurt Johnson, but this is a brand new Planning Commissioner Chairwoman, Janet Kittams, that we're lucky to have for this month for Planning Preview. This starts kind of your 12 months, hopefully, of being Planning Commission Chair and doing this program with us. So we're excited that you're our new chairwoman, and can you just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, maybe where you work at and anything else you think is valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. Jason, I'm happy to be here with you today. So on my other life, when I'm not being a planning commissioner, I'm the CEO of the Helpline Center, and I've been with the Helpline Center for a long time, almost 25 years. So been a part of Sioux Falls, grew up here, love the community, and so being a part of the Planning Commission is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and I know you've probably been on the Planning Commission, has it been 4 years?
I think it's going on 4, yeah.
Yeah, so this is great that we got you finally have you as chairperson for us. So we really appreciate it, you doing this, and like I said, you'll probably be on like 11 more times. And who knows, maybe nobody will volunteer and you'll have to do another year.
Oh no, don't say that.
All right, should we get into some of the items?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Looks like we have a full agenda coming up before us. So the first item looks like we have a rezoning from Live Work District to the RA3 apartment residential. So tell us a little bit about that, because I thought in the Live Work District we already could do multifamily. Yeah,
that's a great question. So yeah, as you know, the Live Work District allows kind of multifamily along with some office and some limited retail, but it really caps that multifamily at 3 stories and 48 units per building. So the applicant here is looking at maybe doing some higher, more dense residential development. And as you know, this area out kind of by the Sanford Sports Complex now, with all the stuff that they put in over there,
of growth.
It's been great out there, and the new baseball fields and soccer fields that are going to be online this year with tournaments. And I think it's a place where people really want to live out there, and really great access to be able to get throughout the entire city. So
yeah, that's an exciting project.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Look forward to hearing more about that. Looks like our second item on the agenda is a rezone from the manufactured residential housing district to the O office district, and that one's on North Wayland.
So this is just a rezone. They're looking at actually there's an empty lot onto the east of their existing, kind of where their, I would say their main office is. And so they're looking at maybe doing some residential compatible storage, which will be kind of a good transition from the existing manufactured homes to kind of the street out there. And you know, we're always looking for, seems like mini storage units, and this could also provide that for the manufactured housing development. So
sounds like a nice fit, a nice transition piece there. The third item looks like we are doing a rezone from single-family residential suburban district to the RHP single-family residential historic district, and that's in McKinnon. So tell us a little bit more about that. Yeah,
so this is one we don't see very often. I think we've seen a couple of them over the last couple of years. This is just another zoning district that's kind of similar to what we have the RT1, which is that traditional for some of these smaller lots in the core area. This really, though, provides is a good option for these houses that are in historic districts. So it's kind of the same setbacks as the RT1, but this provides that kind of additional control that they have to meet the historic standards and stuff. So this will allow them to do some addition to their house, but also keep that historic in nature. So kind of another option that we added with Shape Places. So
yeah, I think that's a great option for those historic areas of our city. Yes, and then we'll jump down to a rezone from single-family residential traditional district to RT2 townhome residential, and that's on North Duluth Avenue.
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those ones where we have some of those converted houses that are off of Minnesota and kind of transition to the single-family neighborhood there. So this is an applicant that wants to add, I think, 2 more units in the basement. So he's got to go rezone it to the RT2 to be able to add those other units in there. And then obviously we'd make him provide the additional parking and things like that to make sure that he has enough room. But these are actually pretty big lots over there. So it's another way to maybe add some units in our core area without, getting more dense is what we're looking for in some of these areas, as long as
Yes.
it makes sense and it's a good transition. So
Yeah, that makes total sense, absolutely. And then it looks like we have a rezone from the O Office District to the S1 General Institutional District, and that's on South Maple and North Terry Avenue.
Yeah, so this is kind of just west of Southeast Technical Institute.
Sure.
So this is another one similar to that first one. The office district allows office uses and kind of those institutional uses like college campuses and things, but really caps them at 2 stories and 60,000 square feet. So the applicant here is looking to go up to that S1, which would allow kind of unlimited size. Gives them a little more flexibility if they do want to expand STI or another use wanted to go in there and it was larger than those 2 stories and 60,000 square feet. So really more of just some extra flexibility to try and get that vacant lot to be developed. So
Sure, that makes sense. All right, and then we have a rezone from the O Office District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, and that is on North Granite Lane, and I do not know where that's at.
So Granite Lane actually is right across from Flying J on 60th Street.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure.
Granite Lane is the road that goes north and south off 60th Street, and then on the west side is
Okay.
Flying J up there by the interstate. The east side currently is a Rhino car wash
Okay.
or a truck wash, and then there's a vacant lot to the north. There's a portion of that truck wash that's zoned office, and then the lot to the north zoned office. So what the applicant wants to do is actually do kind of motor vehicle sales on those 2 lots.
Sure.
And so we need to get that I-1 lot, or excuse me, the office lot zoned to I-1 to be able to do retail up there. The applicant there is a single family residential neighborhood outside of the city, Skyline Heights up there, that's
Yes.
pretty active in this whole development from the beginning. So the applicant is going to be doing a neighborhood meeting up there with them, I think on the February 22nd, to really get their input and then really try and buffer that northeast side of this parcel to kind of continue to let them have their single family neighborhood out there in the country. So
Good. Yeah, I think that'll be a good neighborhood meeting for them to kind of share their concerns and look at how we can buffer that. Yeah.
Yep, and we like to do those when we kind of know which ones that maybe the neighbors or people would like to know more information about, or would like to, as you indicated, give their input on something that they can do to maybe make this work, or something the applicant can do to really help this project fit in. So
Yeah, because they've been there a long time.
long time.
Yes. And then it looks like our last one is rezoned from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the I-1 Light Industrial District on North Louise Circle.
Yeah, so this is just the southeast corner essentially of Russell and the interstate. North
sure.
Louise kind of goes up there.
Yeah.
So this is probably 10 years ago. The applicant zoned part of this I-1 to C2 because he had a campground, like a little campground storage. Have you
Yes.
seen it back there? If you come off that off-ramp. Well, now they're going to do away with that and rezone that little chunk back to I-1 and continue kind of their indoor warehousing that they're doing back there. So really just kind of
Makes
cleaning it up
sense.
and getting rid of the thing. So yeah, it should fit in pretty well. So
Yeah, so full agenda
Yes,
going
yeah.
forward for our meeting, which is on the 1st, right?
1st of March, yep. So yeah, we're kind of ramping up here a little bit.
Yeah.
Kurt had a little easy the last couple months.
Right, just
since
a
there was
few, yeah.
only like 5 items. But yeah, so it's kind of ramping up. So, well, thanks for joining us for your first
Yes.
out of hopefully many, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. And stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we'll have Mike Patten with the Parks Office is going to talk about some upcoming projects for 2023, and also with our community engagement stuff that they have done for some of the pools around the city. So stay tuned.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division. I'm here today with another Home Maintenance Minute for you. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your driveway in the winter. It is a city ordinance that you have to remove the snow within 48 hours of each snow event. And so in order to get that snow and ice off of your sidewalks, off of your driveways for yourself, a lot of people like to use salt. And I myself have used salt, and it works really great. However, as you can see with this driveway, this in particular homeowner used some really aggressive salts, and so it actually ate through the top layer of their driveway, and it's all pitted. and there's sand everywhere, and this concrete isn't going to last as long as it should. And so I just want to encourage you, when you're buying salt for this winter, to look for a magnesium chloride. It is the most eco-friendly salt. It works up to 15 degrees below zero, and you don't have to worry about your pet's paws or anything like that. It's a really great product. It will be safe for your cement. However, still use sparingly. Don't overdo it. Thank you for watching today's Home Maintenance Minute.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of March. Joining me now is Mike Patten with the Parks Department to talk a little bit about some of our parks projects for 2023. And I know you guys just got done with the big community engagement piece for really a bunch of pools throughout the Sioux Falls area that if they should be replaced or upgraded or different things like that. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I'm kind of excited to hear what those survey results were. So you guys kind of studied how many different pools throughout Sioux Falls?
We took about a 4-month window and just engaged the community in discussions and polling to really just address the future of aquatics in Sioux Falls as a whole. So it was an exercise where we looked at water across the whole city, but really kind of a focus on some of our aging older pools, which included Frank Olson, Keene Park Pool, the McKinnon Park wading pool, as well as maybe some potential upgrades to some of our, what most people probably think newer pools like Laurel Oak and Terrace Oak Park, but those were built in 1994, so you know, they're up there too.
And you were telling me a little bit before we started the show here, what's the average life of a pool, or what do you strive for?
Yeah, well, you know, most pool consultants will tell you if you've made it 40 years with an outdoor pool in our climate, you know, with a lot of frost heave and snow and all that, you've done really, really well. And, you know, just as an example, Frank Olson is over 50 years old now, so they've certainly served their useful life.
And I think, you know, when you build a pool 50 years ago, there's a huge difference in model and what you need from 50 years ago to now. I mean, when you design pools and you build pools and what people want, I mean, it changes quite a bit.
Absolutely. I mean, just think of like the experience, I mean, of a 50-year-old pool is basically a box. It's a rectangle of water. You know, you go to Aquatic Center today, there's spray features, there's slides, there's diving boards, there's all sorts of interactive water play that you just don't get in those older models.
And I think that's great that you hit on Keene, which is on the west side of town. You hit on McKinnon Park, which is in the central, and you hit on Frank Olson, which is on the east side of town. So that's what's great, I think, about our Parks Department. You guys are looking at pools all over the city, not just in the central part or the west part. There's really stuff to be done to really maintain those pools all over the city and really give everybody, no matter where you live, that great experience with our aquatics and our parks.
Yeah, you know, our approach with the community engagement process was really to gather as much feedback as possible. So we looked at it kind of from 3 approaches to get that. We held, you know, your typical town hall meeting, invite the whole community in to talk about it all. We actually went out to each one of the neighborhoods, had a series of neighborhood meetings. You know, the main users for those individual pools is generally the people that live around them. And then also we put out a social pinpoint online engagement site, which really received terrific feedback. I think we had over 1,000 survey responses, multiple, probably 300 or 400 individual mapping tool comments as well. And so I feel like we got a good breadth of the community's feedback, not just from the people that live around the pools, but also, you know, pools are destinations. So you may try and visit each pool throughout the summer, you know, and so we got that wide variety of feedback.
So what are a couple of the common themes you heard maybe for all 3 of the ones, or the whole city that you guys surveyed? What were the common themes from the people that provided feedback?
Yeah, well, most of it kind of fleshed itself out in the very first probably 2-3 weeks of the process, and then you know, the ongoing months just confirmed the feedback we were getting. But generally what we learned was people wanted a good mix of recreation water and fitness water. And now when you think of recreation water, it can be anything from diving boards and slides to spray features to just open play in the pool, right? Fitness water can be anything from lap swimming to fitness programs that we do throughout the season in it, and so therapy for rehab and all that. So it's like you get, you want that nice mix of fun with fitness. We heard that quite a bit. We also heard that kind of the main reason people don't use some of our facilities is overcrowding. And you know, we attribute that to a few different things, but if you go to some of the more popular pools like Laurel Oak Aquatic Center in the summertime on a nice day, I mean, it's packed. And we attribute that people not enjoying that experience because it's a little overcrowded there.
And do you think maybe our pools are a little bit more overcrowded just because we have such a short window to utilize them, that people kind of pack it all in that 3 months or so, or from Memorial Day to Labor Day to get in there?
Yeah, well, there's that. You know, they're very, very popular. There's also, you know, some of the newer pools provide a little more fun experience than some of the other pools. So people tend to go to those more updated aquatic centers as to the old traditional box pools.
So then, like Drake Springs, I think, is that the newest one that you guys completed? Is that still kind of the model that you see kind of moving forward with some of these other remodels of our aging pools? Yeah,
I mean, that's a good example of having that mix of recreation water with fitness water. And then even some of the components within Drake Springs service both. So Drake Springs has an outdoor lazy river, very popular. A lot of people use it in the morning for water walking against the current for fitness, but during the day it's, you know, a lazy river floating on tubes. So it kind of serves that dual purpose, So it's a good example.
And then one that I'm excited about, because I do live south of McKinnon Park. What did you get for feedback with that to kind of keep it that low, shallow, kind of more, I would say, younger kids, younger family type pool, or to do more of the larger, you know, diving boards and aquatic center type thing?
No, that was, you know, that was one of the sites that we received a lot of feedback on. People are very passionate about McKinnon Park, and people wanted to keep it a wading pool. Now, it's dated. You know, it has it's time to replace that pool. It's over 50 years old. It's just not up to current standards and you know, experience levels. So still wanting to keep it a wading pool, still wanted to have some depth for minimal swimming opportunities, but bring it up to speed with some new features like zero depth entry and you know, spray features and small slides. Just make it a better experience, but still keep it a wading pool.
Yeah, it was great. I know my kids are a little older now, so now we typically go to Drake Springs more just because it's close and it's a little bit bigger, but we used to utilize that a lot. It was nice to be able to have your kids that are younger ones go and just use the wading pool. It's been there for a long time, and it's been part of McKinnon Park. So
it's a great facility to introduce swimming to a young age, and you know, you can swim around them a little bit, but you don't have the fear of tossing them into a deep end either, right? So it's a good facility.
So one other thing, I know you guys, was that last year you added that brand new spray park kind of over there. I forgot what park that was located in. Is that online and ready to roll?
So yeah, that's Hayward Park.
Hayward, okay.
And we did that's on the west side of town. It's a park school site along with Hayward Elementary right there. And so what we did was a full renovation of that park, which included a new spray pad, but it also brought in new play equipment and obstacle course style, kind of Ninja Warrior level play feature, as well as a walking loop and you know, some good new open space graded and irrigated for open sports play, and then the splash pad.
Did you see? Have you seen a lot of demand for more of those splash pads?
Well, you know, Hayward neighborhood and Hayward Park is kind of a bit of an anomaly here in Sioux Falls, where there's a lot of barriers for pedestrian connectivity, and so when you look at that particular site, you see that that's an area that probably is difficult to reach a pool from a pedestrian standpoint. So it made a lot of sense to introduce some level of water play in that park, and so the spray pads are wildly popular throughout, you know, everywhere. Everybody loves spray pads, especially for young kids and families, and so it just made sense to put it there.
Yeah, I think that was a great investment. So maybe anything else that you wanted to add with that survey that you did, or anything that surprised you or didn't surprise you? Or
well, just maybe before we get to that question, I'll just follow up with Hayward a little bit. So we finished construction on the splash pad last fall.
Great.
And we tested it, fired it up, it all runs, but we didn't get it done until the fall, so we instantly we winterized it after we opened it up, and so our goal is to open it up as soon as Mother Nature lets us this spring and get people in there playing.
So we kind of have like a little grand opening for it, kind of a deal.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. It probably won't be a ribbon cutting. Maybe it'll be a turn on the pad experience. Yeah, we're planning to do something this spring once all this snow melts. So.
Well, that's great. That's because I knew that you guys were investing in that. I couldn't remember when it was supposed to open. So that's great for that Hayward neighborhood. They really got a brand new facility over there. So
yeah, it's a terrific park now. You know, as far as the whole community engagement process and sort of how that unfolded, I would say it was really great to hear the community really kind of just confirm some of the feedback we got from our park system master plan. So every 5 years we update our park system master plan, looks at all facilities, and a lot of the recommendations came with addressing some of your aging aquatic facilities. And in there, you know, we poll the public and we do surveys and all that, and people were asking for indoor recreation opportunities, whether it be walking or fitness or swimming inside or, you know, pickleball, basketball courts, you name it. Indoor recreation was a big piece of that. And we went out to the public and we started saying, hey, this is what you told us a few years ago. What do you think about, does it make sense for this to be an outdoor pool, should be an indoor pool, indoor rec center with an indoor pool? And that was sort of the major thing we heard is if we're going to replace a facility here, say at Frank Olson, we'd probably rather see it be a part of a multi-generational indoor rec center with some indoor swimming that can be a year-round rec versus, say, a 90-day swim window in the summer.
That's good. I think you guys have done a great job with that public engagement. It's nice to get people behind it. It just helps you as you continue to move through the process and get to the point where you're trying to get money allocated from the city council that you've kind of checked off all those boxes and got a lot of feedback and community buy-in, so that's great. Let's shift right now. I just kind of want to talk about, I know one of the exciting projects that was really a community effort, not only from a private standpoint, but the city standpoint, is the new skate park that's going just north of Drake Springs, correct?
Well, it's actually, north of Drake Springs in Nelson Park. It's the Barb Iverson Skate Plaza at Nelson Park.
And I think that was great. I know that the city had said, you guys raised so much, we'll pitch in some of our CARES Act funds to fund that. And I know I've seen the plans with it. And can you talk a little bit more about like the upgrade from what we currently have south of Drake Springs to what this is going to be?
Yeah. So this project's a partnership with the Sioux Falls Skate Park Association. You know, they did a community appeals fundraising campaign a few years ago, exceeded their goals. And so they're bringing in, you know, north of $1.5 million combined with some city money as well to create really what I would call is like a top tier national level skate park experience, right? Right now the park has what we call like a modular system. It's a series of ramps and equipment that skaters you know, can utilize, but it's just a concrete pad with these ramps put on top of it. The new skate plaza will be, you know, a cast in place concrete experience. There'll be bowls, there'll be different grinding and skating features incorporated into a plaza. So it's more of an overall skating experience as opposed to just some modular equipment that you skate on.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think it shows some of these private club or organizations that you can raise some money, and the city loves to help in, and kind of when you have your own skin in the game, we like to pitch in our portion of it, and really do a first-class facility here. I mean, that park's going to be busy this summer, spring and summer and fall, with all those different activities going on, which is great.
Yeah, and it's connected to the bike trail, so it's easy to get to from a lot of neighborhoods.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You know, one cool thing about that particular design is we had Canton Russell, who's a former professional skateboarder. He's actually doing the design, and it was super important to him to engage the skating community in that design. And so, you know, this isn't Mike Patten's design of a skate plaza. This is really the skaters of Sioux Falls telling us what they want, and then us trying to provide that best experience possible. So I think it's a huge win for the community.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe people don't realize how much of a skateboarding population, how much that's becoming popular again. I know when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, it was huge, and then it kind of has died out, and now it's actually come back quite a bit. So. Yeah,
I think being a part of the Olympics, the last Olympic cycle really got people excited about it. But you know, you hinted on it. What it was is now people that skated in the 80s and the 90s are now all grown-ups, and they want the next generation, you know, and so that's where they went out and hit the streets and passed the hat and raised some money, and now here we are building a top-shelf experience.
Any other projects this year that you're excited about or that we're going to be constructing?
Well, we're really deep in the design on 2 major improvements here in downtown. So there's phase 3 of the River Greenway.
Yes, it's going to be great.
It's a huge piece. It basically runs from the 6th Street, not quite
Yes.
6th Street, and it'll take people into which is our next major project, which is Jacobson Plaza at Falls Park.
That's going to be amazing. Just that, we had talked about, I know the 6th Street Bridge has come up a lot, but just coming now from where Sharapa has that River Greenway, and now you're going to take that all the way up, like you said, past Sioux Steel and up towards almost getting, are you going to make it almost all the way to Falls Park or pretty close?
Yeah, so it'll take you into what we kind of used to call Falls Park West,
Yep.
which is now the Jacobson Plaza
plaza.
at Falls Park. And so it'll connect people from the trail system in the Steel District, right, into Falls Park and eventually underneath the railroad trestle.
That's just going to be such a cool area. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and then we're deep into the design on Jacobson Plaza as well, which is going to be a refrigerated outdoor ice skating ribbon, our largest playground experience in Sioux Falls. It'll be an all-inclusive playground experience, just a really exciting gathering place for people year-round, hoping all the support facilities really just make that a top-shelf experience.
So with you kind of hinted on it, the refrigerated ice ribbon, how long does that allow that then to kind of stay open? Longer, I'm assuming?
For sure longer. Mother Nature plays a role in that. I can tell you in my research, if you're south of I-90, keeping an outdoor ice rink, quality ice when people want to skate, is very, very difficult. You get further north, it's possible. You get up into Minneapolis and Fargo, they can kind of do that. They're a little further north. But for us, we're just kind of at that line where it's just difficult. When we actually have good ice, it's too cold, people don't want to skate, right? And so when it's actually nice and people want to get out and skate in the wintertime, our ice is a little bit slushy, right? So it's just not that experience, and this will allow us to kind of bridge that gap. Different people say different things, but I feel pretty comfortable saying we'll get into November,
to start it.
Through February, maybe into March if Mother Nature plays ball, maybe a little further. So what it'll do is, one, it'll extend the season. It'll give us some skating opportunities in the shoulders of the season. But what it will do is when we have those nice days in January and December and February, when people want to get out, we'll be able to provide that quality ice system.
That's awesome. That's another great private-public partnership that you guys are working on. And really an area of property that's just kind of sat there vacant for a long time. So it'll be nice to activate that along with Sioux Steel and then the Levitt in there. That's just going to be such a great area now. Really.
Huge hub activity right there.
Yeah, you guys are doing such a good job of pushing downtown north. We're connecting everything together and putting it together. So, well, thanks so much for coming on. This is great information, and may have to have you on every year to talk about projects. So.
Just let me know when.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us, Sioux Falls, for a planning preview for the month of March. Our meeting this month is on March 1st at 6 o'clock at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we love to have public input on any of the items that we talked about in our first segment tonight. And also, we do have that 5-minute public comment period at the end of our meeting to talk about anything that's not on the agenda. So thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.